Shalom. All praises to the Most High, Noka said. Praise be to the earthly mother. Praise be to the Kahe, the Holy Spirit. In the name of his only begotten Son, Mount of the Lamb, unification to the nation. Guys, I just have, just a quick little lesson that I wanted to get out the way. And it was regarding the Fulani and how they show the fact that Shem does not in part come from the Middle East. Not entirely, but in part. Now, it's also kind of showing where everything really started just by the DNA of this tribe alone. And the fact that they have people stumped. But we're going to get into them a little bit. And we're also going to dig a little bit into the so-called Holy Land, right? So I think I went over this before in my video regarding Negro land. But they're pretty much saying that the Fulani, they're so much different from the Negroes, quote unquote, right? They're not black, but they're yellowish brown, like they're light skinned and they look like mulattoes, right? That's what they're saying. And they said that they came from Timbuktu. They said that their skulls are in the cast of the European mold, which, this doesn't mean anything. European mold, like having European features does not mean you're European. The same way having Shemitic features does not mean you're a Shemite. It just doesn't. There are people who look differently among the same family, who look like they're from two different nations and are brothers and sisters. So it's not necessarily all about that. That's their classification. That's what Blumenbach did when it came to a European phenotype or a Negro phenotype. None of that stuff exists. That's all made up, right? That's not nationhood. But they said that they're not black, but yellowish brown or red brown. Their hair is not woolly, but curly, and sometimes quite straight. It is either dark brown or black, with a fuller growth beard than the Negroes. The oval face gives them a Mediterranean look. Their nose prominent, their lips not puffy, so on and so forth. This is not a lie, but it's not true either. Let me show you. These are the Fulani. Some of them, look like how they were talking about. Like this woman has that look that they were talking about, but some of them don't. Some of them look like Hamites. Some of them look like Shemites, right? They have these big ass foreheads like Hamites, but they're black people with thin noses and oval faces like Shemites. So this is not necessarily a lie, but it's not the truth either. That doesn't mean we have to throw away the truth with the lie, but we just have to note that they're pushing an agenda when they write these things. They're not being fully truthful, right? Now, he said the Fulas, and I showed you before that, Fula, it redirects or redicts to Fulas, which comes from the Fulani, which is what they call themselves. Now, I don't think the Fulani are Israelites. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But they're definitely of Shem or mixed with Ham, like most people in Africa, right? They said their color is brown or yellowish bronze. See, why do they keep pushing this? Why do they do this? Because they know that there's been records of, Jews in West Africa. But they'll want to pin it on some other group who they say, well, they were Europeans that went there and now they're mixed. Now they're yellowish brown and stuff like that. That's the the doctrine they're trying to push. And they said that they're Mohammedans, right? So let's look that up. This is relating to Muhammad or regarding Islam or being a Muslim, or they're trying to connect them to the Middle East, right? However, here's the thing. The Fulani are not from the Middle East. So, in a recent issue of PNAS, it maintained that although the Fulani mitochondrial DNA is consistent with a West African origin, the linguistic and recombinant portion of the Y chromosome supports a Middle Eastern origin for this population, although this is their opinion. The linguistic and genetic evidence fails to support this conclusion. The Fulani speak a Niger Congo language. Where have you heard that before? As I've told you, Niger Congo is Paleo-Hebrew. I really hope that air conditioner is not too loud, but it is, like, I think the humidity is like 87% right now, so I'm very sorry. I can't turn it off. So Niger Congo languages are Paleo-Hebrew. I'll show you that in a second. But these are, the two different Niger Congo so-called languages. You have the Niger Congo A, what they call, or West Africa, and you have Niger Congo B, which is Sub-Saharan Africa, right? And our brothers, our Israelite brothers are scattered mostly around this area. They're also scattered around here too, around Ethiopia and Sudan and stuff like that, and in North Africa as well. But the majority of them are in this area, right? This is how they look, the Bantu, and I just showed you how the Austronesians look. They look pretty similar to them. Not fully similar, because again, they're among Ham, so they might resemble Ham a little bit, which is fine, right? But they have that same look. This is the original Shemitic look, in my opinion. That's just what it seems like. Now, what I wanted to go to. Yeah, this is Paleo-Hebrew. Now, you notice that the Bantu are the ones that speak Paleo-Hebrew, not the Jewish, them. So that lets me know that the origin can't be in the Middle East. The origin was not in the Middle East. I'm not saying Israelites weren't in the Middle East. They were in the Middle East, but they did not originate from the Middle East. That's a full-faced lie. And they're able to perpetuate this lie based on the map of Israel. The map is a deception, right? Them originating from the Middle East is a lie, but the map is a deception, meaning there's some truth to the map, but they're deceiving people with it. Let me see. Right, and this is another example of it. Now, this is my problem with, you brothers from Africa. You say things that are very, very idiotic, and it makes you look like you have very low self-esteem, which is, all of us have low self-esteem. But when you say the 12 tribes of Israel are Bantus only, are you the Most High? How can you make these proclamations? It doesn't make any sense. You guys still kept your culture. You guys have your own area, your own land. Yes, you're ruled over by other nations, but you still have your own area where you can do things. We don't have our own area here in the Americas. They stole all of our stuff. You still have a culture. They destroyed our culture. They wiped it out completely. And then they said that it belonged to other people. Some of which were other Israelites, some of which weren't. But even when they, give our culture, or at least the Black Americans' culture, away to other Native Americans, they try to kill them off. So they'll say, well, the Native Americans, they look like this, but to the Native Americans who look like that, they try to kill them every single day. So it really all is just a hijack. You have to have a lot of critical thinking when you're doing a lot of research in this truth. You can't just make these assumptions, because when you make assumptions, you come off as, being very prejudiced, being having low self-esteem. Because why do you need to proclaim that all 12 tribes all come from your continent and they don't come from anywhere else, and everyone else is a mongrel and all this nonsense. It's very sad, because I don't look at you brothers and say, well, you guys are mongrels because you're mixed with him. I don't say stuff like that. It's disgusting, honestly. It really irks me. Not all you brothers are like that. I have some Congolese brothers on my channel who understand critical thought and understand that the Israelites are scattered throughout the world and not just Africa. But I just wanted to mention that, because it's very sad. All these black only people are very sad. Very sad, because they don't even originate in Africa. For all you know, you look more like Ham than you do like Shem. So you really do need to humble yourself and stop, get out of that attitude. I understand we all have been hurt, we all have been destroyed, but it's time to come together. It's time to unify. That's enough of my rant. Let me see. What else do I have here? Right, so this is a map that I came across, right? Now this map was made in 1571. Now you're going to see a lot of the hijack. Let's start with the Americas. So they gave this area 19, and they gave this area 19. Now if we go over here, we can find what they meant by 19. They said that it's Ophir. So they said that the west, I don't know what this is actually. I think this is California or Utah. Yeah, I think it's Utah or Utah. So they said this was Ophir, and they said Peru was Ophir. So pretty much the Jerusalems that they found over here, they said they were Ophir. They said 22 and 21 were there. Let's see 22 and 21. Jobab and Seraphimos, I don't know. It's probably a Shemitic son. But these are the sons of Shem. So they said, well, these are Shemites, but they're not Israelites, pretty much, because they think they're Israelites, or they don't want to believe that Israel exists. They want to believe they're all dead. Why? Because they're Christians, and they engage in replacement theology. That's just what Christians do. That's what Edomites do. That's what Europeans do. That's what cavemen do. So, whatever. If that's what they want to do, they come on my channel too. They want to say, well, all Shem are Caucasians. And then until I prove that they're not, and they're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You're sad. But let's check this out. So now let's go to this so-called land of Israel that's over here. Right? Let's check. This is X, and this is Y, this is V, and this is B. So let's see what these letters mean. X, Y, V, B. So they said in that land, these people are here. X, the Kaphaluhim are there, right? And we have Y, Piliphium. I don't even know who the hell these people are. We have V, I think, Petrufum, and then we have B. Let's see what B is. Mifari. I think that's probably Mizraim or something. Point is, do you know who all of these numbers, letters represent? All these letters, right? They represent the sons of Chem or Ham, right? They're pretty much saying that these lands belong to Ham. They're not saying that these lands belong to Shem. Do you know what lands they thought belonged to Shem? They thought these lands belonged to Shem. Northern, Eastern Europe, as well as these lands up here. You know what 8 is? Let's look up 8. 8 is Mez, right? 9, let's look at 9. Is Olmodad. 10 is Selef. Like, what in the hell? And these Roman numerals, they're all the lands of Japheth. So the letters are Ham, the Roman numerals are Japheth, and the numbers are Shem. So some of Shem was here, some of Ham was here, some of Japheth was here. These are the true places that these people were. Now, did Israel have some sort of colony or something here? Yeah, they did. They did. Going back to the so-called DNA, or the findings that they found with the Fulani. Before I forget, I almost actually forgot. Let's hope that this loads. It's froze on me. So what I'm getting, hopefully while this loads, what I'm really getting at is that these people, the Fulani, they didn't originate from the Middle East, and you're going to see. So they speak a Niger Congo language, or they speak Paleo-Hebrew, right? They probably came from West Africa and from Nubia. Wilmers explained that the Niger Congo homeland was in the vicinity of Upper Nile Valley, not Niger Basin. The archaeological evidence supports this view. Indicating that only in the past 3 KY, I don't know what that means. Pause, KY. Did people begin to occupy the Niger Basin. Rosa and the rest of the people who he studied with, noted that most Niger Congo speakers, like the Mende and the Balanta, carry the E3A or E3A M2 gene, whereas a number of the Filupi, Dojola, Papil, Fulbi, and Mande carry the M3B, M35 gene, the same as many people in the Sudan. Now we're going to get to something interesting. In addition to haplogroup E3, and I think E3 is like E1B1A or something like that, or I could be wrong. I don't remember. We can also find that some carriers of R1M73, most carriers of Y chromosome M173 in Africa speak Niger Congo languages. So they just told you most of the people who paternally come from this haplogroup of R1M173 speak Niger Congo languages, or Paleo-Hebrew. Now let's get into the DNA of Native Americans, shall we? So these are the indigenous Amerindian Y chromosomes, or haplogroups. They're within the branches of Q, R1, and C. Now, what's confusing researchers is the R1, because they thought that R originated in Europe, but now they're finding that that's not true. That R1 is actually incredibly old, and it was found in the Americas. Now they will never admit that it came from the Americas, but they're saying that it's pretty old and it's found in the Americas, but they're never going to make that conclusion. Now look at this. What is this? What's this right here? Note that this is found in the Americas. This is not found anywhere else. This is a Native American haplogroup. So where do these people come from? Where do these Shemitic, Paleo-Hebrew speaking people come from? They didn't come from the Middle East. They came from America, or some other Shemitic land that's not in the Middle East, or not anywhere that they know about currently. I wonder where that place could be. Well, let's check out. I already told you guys about Terra Sancta in the last video. I really highly suggest you guys go watch this video, because there's something interesting about this. And what you guys will notice when you study a lot of the things that Satan does historically, He deceives. He doesn't straight up lie, he deceives. That way, uh, he can either get you to believe the whole, like, to believe a lie because it's mixed with the truth, or he can, get you to fully reject part of the truth, and then you don't grow. That's why we always have to, chew the meat and spit out the bones. That's just what we have to do. We have to pick, uh, you know, the diamonds out of the rough constantly. And we need the Holy Spirit to do it because He's hidden things. Now, before I end the video, let me show you this. You'll notice that there's just many Jerusalems, right? There are many places that look like Jerusalem. This is California, right? This is the bottom of California. And I believe that the Exodus happened in the west coast of the Americas. But does that mean that all of Egypt was all in the Grand Canyon, or was all in Texas, or was all in Peru? No, I think that Egypt was in many places all around the world, but especially in America. And I believe that there was a certain group of Israelites that were, taken out of Egypt that were in Texas. I believe that the Exodus happened in North America, but Egypt was also in South America. Israelites were in South America enslaved by Egypt. Or they could have been enslaved in North Africa as well. I don't know. But I do know that if the Exodus fits anywhere and the conquest of Joshua fits anywhere, it's in the west coast of the Americas, because that's where all of the giant bones are. They're either in the west coast of the Americas, or they're in around the Great Lakes area, which also happens to be the area where possibly this giant war of giants happened before the flood. But anyway, this is their map of so-called Palestine, and this is an older map. It's not the oldest map I could find. I don't know how to look for those maps like that, but the Dead Sea was not the Dead Sea, and it wasn't this big. This was the Salt Sea. They've changed around the geography a little bit to fit that Jerusalem over there. But you see the same curve of land. And this is the bottom of California. And this is Terra Sancta of Antarctica. Now, if you notice, when they always make these maps of Jerusalem, they only show this little strip of land. And I wondered why the hell that was. And the reason being is because if they zoom out, then you'll see South America, and then you're going to be confused. Or you might see Papua New Guinea and might get confused. Or you might see Hawaii and get confused, because, again, Satan, he doesn't fully lie, he deceives. So if you reject this map, then you won't find this place. Right? This is how he works. It's very crazy. This could be the place where the Messiah, walked. This could be the place, or one of the places that, that David was in. This could have been the place that Nephi came from, that Lehi came from. This could have been the place, not over there in the dust bucket, over here. They call this land Terra del Fuego, or the land of fire. How does a land of fire turn into a land of ice? Had to have been the work of the Most High. So stuff's very interesting, man. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. Until the next one. Shalom.